Hey everyone, it's Kat and I'm back today, hopefully for a quick fun video. I'm going to talk through my top 5 palettes. Now, eyeshadow palettes. Now, what makes me hesitate to say that is that at any one point in time, I might be liking a different palette. Could be because a certain color story or a certain finish or a certain vibe sort of inspires me at that time, or I just like using it, or it works with the style of makeup that I'm currently sort of into. So sometimes I want more pigmented, sometimes I want more fun finishes, sometimes I want more color, sometimes I want it really pared down and really just flattering and sort of feature enhancing. So it's very hard for me to narrow it down. I mulled this over for a couple of weeks and I've got more to talk about because I've sort of got backups, I suppose, or like offshoots, I guess. But these are the palettes that I keep coming back to really enjoying. If I ever think, oh, I might want to declutter these and I start using them, I'm like, no, I still love them. So are these the best palettes in the world? Absolutely not. Are these the best formula? Absolutely not. Are these the best color story? Probably not. So these are just things that I keep coming back to really enjoying, and time again when I have revisited them, they impress me every time. I'm going to start with one of my favorite palettes of all time, and I've mentioned it fairly recently on this channel for a couple of reasons. One, it's sort of coming out in a different format for the holiday season, so this is discontinued. So if you wanted it, you can sort of get something similar to it. But also I compared it to the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude. It is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry palette. I love this palette for so many reasons. Every time I use it, I'm just like, I love you. I love you palette. So I'll show you the palette first. This is what it looks like inside. It looks fairly boring, but it is a really beautiful sort of metallic, cooler toned palette. There are some warm shades in here. You've got a vibrant coral, you've got like a caramel brown, you've got some sort of gold shades, but overall you can make some very nice smoky, cool tone looks, but you can also make some really nice metallic or matte, just sort of neutral looks. I feel like this is such a beautiful, versatile palette, and I love it. Every time I use it, I love it. The shades are really, really pigmented and buttery. So let me go for, oh, it's so soft. Look, I don't even know if you can see with the lighting so bright, but it's super, 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 super buttery and super pigmented. So if you want a pigmented sort of shimmer, this is where it's at. There's nothing super special in the texture, so there's no textural differences, there's no sparkles or multichromes or anything like that. It's just these really buttery pigmented shimmers, but they work so beautifully and they're so gorgeous. What I also love about this is you've got a silver, you've got a grey, and you've got a black, which normally I don't really like, but there's something about this silver and this grey that has a little bit of a warm tone to it. So it's not straight up just frosty. There's a little bit of like pink in it, I guess. This has a little bit of like a mauvey tinge that has a little bit of like a pinky tinge. So for me, even though normally I wouldn't like those colors because they're too cool on me, there's something about this that just is amazing. So this is being re-released this holiday season, but it's like a 9-pan square palette. So they've actually taken out a few shades, including this coral here, which, to be fair, it's a bit gritty and it's a bit like, what is it doing there? It does work nicely and you can sort of use it as a pop of color, but it's not a sacrifice. So they've narrowed this down to more of a capsule palette, and I would recommend checking it out if you like cooler tones. Everything about this I love. I think it's almost one of my perfect palettes. I think they got rid of some of the redundant sort of double up browns, but I really like those browns. So I love the Sultry. I love it forever and ever. Another one that's not a surprise if you watch my channel, this is the Glamonatrix Nearly Natural palette. So this is nearly natural. It's not quite natural, and it is very shimmery and sparkly. Now, what I love about this is it's like you can create nude tones, but you can also get into berry tones, sort of green colors. You've got, again, this sort of like silvery sort of, this one's a bit more blue, purple. You probably can't see it very well, but you can delve into different tones. So you can make something quite cool tone. This is a really beautiful sort of burgundy with silver glitter in it. Oh, it's gorgeous. So yeah, I love this because this is the amount of color I sort of am comfortable wearing on a daily basis. I'm happy to put a bit of a berry in the crease. I'm happy to go in, lean in a little bit to the greens. To me, this is perfection, and the textures are phenomenal. So you have sort of some metallic textures, but also these really, really shimmery ones. They're just like, they're sparkly and fun, and they're just so lovely for just a fun, oh, you can't even see. Let me try that on my hand because this lighting, it's about to storm and for some reason it's just not. Anyway, they're super sparkly and super shiny, and then that just brighten up the eye, and they're like twinkly and rich and intense, something that you can't really find in most sort of crazy mass-produced products. Beautiful tones, really shimmery, really gorgeous, and I love this palette so much. If I'm ever going out somewhere to like an event or somewhere special and I want to rock a red lip and I want the eye to be sort of a statement eye, but nothing that's taking over my look, this is the palette I go for. It's got a dark brown to deepen things, a dark purple to deepen things in a different tone. Everything about it I'm obsessed with. This is such a beautiful palette. It's no longer available. It's coming back as a remastered version next year. So if you really like the look of this and you missed out, or you missed out on the single bundle, next year. What I have on my eyes, and there's going to be people that look at it, and if they knew what I've been like using recently, I reckon people would assume it's the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette, because it gives you that same sort of perfected, slightly cooler tone vibe that palette does. Now that's not in this top 5. I haven't had it for long enough. What this is, brace yourself. It's the motherfucking Urban Decay Naked palette. What? This is an example of one of those palettes that whenever I reach for it and I use it, I'm like, I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm wearing Sidecar today, just with a bit of this and then a bit of the gold in the inner corner, and it's just such a flattering palette. I don't often dive into these ones, but if I wanted to smoke something up, I can. It's predominantly a shimmery palette, but I also predominantly wear shimmers, so I love this palette. The formulas are beautiful. These are the two that I'm sort of wearing today. They're really beautiful and they hold up. This is super old. That's a matte. They hold up. I love them. So this is, I don't know why, look, I do know why they got rid of this palette. I think it was just that so many people owned it that they're like, people aren't buying it. But I feel like this is a staple that should still be around, just maybe repackaged or something, because this packaging is pretty not the best. But just for your sort of starting palette, or just a palette that you want, like it's so good. The quality is easy to work with. The looks are flattering. I love it. This is where I'm going to branch off. This wasn't in my top 5, but it was close. The Naked 2. If you do prefer something cooler, pull out your Naked 2. It's great. It's great. It's so good. I don't wear this one as much as the Naked one. To be fair, I don't reach for them, either of them, too often. But when I do, I'm like, oh, I love this. And I can totally wear them like a month straight with no problem because I really enjoy them. I kind of like these colors here. When it gets into these, it's a little bit too cool tone for me. But again, it's a really nice one. The next palette I wanted to mention, and I was tossing up between two to fill this spot. So what I was tossing up between was the Melt Gemini palette, which was the palette that made me love a certain tone of green. It introduced me to these swampy greens, these ones here, and I loved them. I think for my coloring, they're very flattering. I just really love this part of the palette, but what annoys me is I don't like the rest of it. So I just want that. I just want that. And also, the shimmers are very, they're sort of, I don't know. I feel like the problem with Melt palettes is they're not consistent. This is actually my second Gemini palette. I actually got this sent as a replacement because the shimmer puffed up and got really weird, and customer service sent me a new one. So I love these tones, and I still respect this palette, but I just feel like you can get them in better formulas and more reliable formulas. One palette that stands out as being, has that vibe, but a lot more that I also really love, is my Coloured Rain Safari Rain palette. Now I heard this came back, so if you missed out on this, it was discontinued, but they brought it back. This also has the greens, but you can see it's got a lot more. So it's got these two greens. I am missing that sort of chartreuse yellowy green that this one has in the corner. So that one there, I wish that was in there somewhere. But it does have that sort of murky green, the shimmer, but just a better version of it, just more pigment. But it's also got some nice warm colors and some cool colors as well. So, and this, I love using this as an eyeliner, that matte teal, this reddy orange color, stunning, absolutely freaking stunning. This gold is like a foiled lighter gold, really, really pretty. These are really buttery. And then you have like this cooler tone brown as well. So you have these beautiful shades, nice mix of shimmers and mattes, and you get like, this is what I reach for if I want a pop of color. Like, say if I'm using the Naked palette and I want a teal liner or something just to add a little bit of interest, I might put the red on the lower lash line. I might put the teal in the outer corner. I might blend out a brown with the green. That, you know, you can do, this is just such a good quality, beautiful palette. And it's standalone. Of course, you can create so many different beautiful looks with it, but it's also really good complementing more nude palettes. So I love these. These are absolutely stunning. And of course you can't really see, but the pigment is, this so good. Look at that. Like, it's stunning. And that's just the shimmers. The mattes are also really nice. Last place, and this is, look, it'd be so much easier if I made this top 4. That would be it. I'm like, that's all I need. I'm happy with that. But one palette that kept coming back as one that, even though it's not a perfect palette and I'm not obsessed with it, but I really like it. And whenever I try to declutter it, I keep it because I like it. It's actually the Chocolate Gold palette from Too Faced. Now, I liked the chocolate palette. Mine was pretty old, but I really like the chocolate palette. But if you like metallics, Chocolate Gold is where it's at. It does have these sort of standard mattes, so you can sort of finish off a look if you want. But I love a good metallic. And I was wearing this the other day. I think I was wearing this sort of pinky shade here, and I was also wearing that shade. And I'm just like, I really like this. It's got a nice sort of silvery shade, but again, not too frosty, so you can actually wear it if silvers don't suit you. But then you've got a true silver as well, so more of a grey silver. And then you have some nice warm shades, you got some pops of color here. The thing I don't like about this is like you got the giant pan of yellow gold, which is one of the least favorite ones, but the formula is really nice. The pink is a bit sheer, and I think the purple is a bit sheer, but you have like a forest green, an army green, a burgundy, an orange. Like, again, you have so much variety in here. And if you pair this with just your standard nude palette, you can really amp it up and create some really fun, I'm just gonna choose a few colors here to show you some really fun metallic shades. So I really like this, and I can't get rid of it because I really enjoy it. There's some shades there. So yeah, those are probably like, so if someone told me you had to get rid of all your eyeshadows and just keep 5 palettes, probably I would keep these. Look, if someone told me that, I might need to tweak it a little bit and go, okay, well, realistically, the Chocolate Gold's getting really old and I've got a fresher one that's more fun, or maybe I'd want to start incorporating things like multi-chromes or something like that. So, but yeah, over a long period of time, these consistently come out as being the ones that I really like and I really like the looks of, and they're easy to use and I keep coming back to them. Whereas there are some palettes that maybe more recently I've bought and I really like them as well, and maybe over time they could be added into this or tweaked, but this is just more like longevity. I've got so much longevity loving these, so I have to, you know, give them some mad props. So yeah, that's probably my 5. All right, I'd love to know in the comments what your top 5 long-term palettes are. What are, like, you know, when you can go, I love a song at the moment, but then you look back over the last 10 years and you go, well, what are the standout songs? That's what I want to know. What palettes stand out long-term as being your favorites? So I'd love to know what your top 5 are. And I want to thank my members for supporting my channel. Mwah, you're all beautiful. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.